Johnny, what if I told you were about to drink a beer from North Korea, the regime of North Korea?
The regime.
The regime of North Korea, was produced in a factory that was dismantled brick by brick from Trowbridge in Wiltshire and moved all the way across to North Korea. And now they bang out the regime's best lagers.
The regime's best lagers.
Right?
It's the best tagline I've ever heard. And I can't wait.
Well, welcome to North Korean lagers.
The way you said that, Bradley, made me think that this is a series we're working on. You haven't got more of these.
Not yet, Johnny, although I've recently found out that as a tourist, you can go there and they do have a beer festival now, which is all about North Korean beers. So it's called Taedonggang. It was originally Usher's brewery from Trowbridge in Wiltshire, and they made bitters, regional bitters in the UK. Historic, beautiful brewery. And in the year 2000, it shut down, unfortunately. Right. And North Korea, I guess they were on eBay. I'm not quite sure how they purchased it.
So how did they? I mean, they're next to China, which makes most of the brewing equipment in the world.
I would say it's probably the way that sort of British culture is revered in some parts of Asia. Potentially, this is what I'm guessing might be the thing.
Or maybe when they sealed the borders of North Korea, Britain was still the brewing powerhouse of the world, and then realised it's moved on.
So Kim Jong-il, when it was under his power, they placed an eBay bid, and they won it for £1.5 million, Johnny.
That's not cheap. How big's the brewery?
It's a pretty big brewery.
Okay.
So they won it for that amount of money, and they decided to dismantle it brick by brick in Wiltshire, and then build it back as it was in Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea. And it was the first traditional brewery.
Oh my God.
In North Korea.
I'm going to get this in I need a beer for this.
Yeah.
Some questions. You're joking about eBay.
I don't know.
Kim Jong-un wasn't sat there
I actually
worrying he's going to be picked by some teenager in America.
I don't know how they bought it, but I think it was obviously quite a prestige move for the regime to sort of invest in something like that. The British government were really, really worried about the sale, and they had inspectors go to the brewery to assess that it was safe to export to. They're on a no export list, essentially, a lot of regimes are. So, Iraq and all these other places we weren't allowed to sell computers to them because they might use them to guide missiles, etc. They were worried about sending a brewery.
A couple of tanks.
They were worried that they might turn the brewery into a chemical weapons lab. So we had to have people go in and assess that it's straight brewing equipment. There's no way you could turn it into a chemical weapons facility. Once that red tape was cleared.
Usher's Brewery, when they saw the name come up, Kim Jong-il, they'd have been like, oh, this is going to be a nightmare.
Oh, no. I should have put no postage. Yeah. Collection in person.
Well, that would have been an event if they put that, right? Yeah.
But talking of collecting in person, the sort of North Koreans sent over a team of North Koreans to go and brew with the brewer from Usher's. It was closed.
Well, to learn to use the kit.
Yeah, from scratch. So he taught them how to brew on a traditional English brewing kit. So his name was Gary Todd.
Gary Todd.
Gary Todd. So the
story just gets weirder and weirder.
Yeah, he had a whole sort of committee of North Koreans come and learn how to brew traditional British beers. They were there for a prolonged period of time. He has said that he had
So we also had to let North Koreans in to
we
the
had
UK
to let
as
them
well, so that's a thing.
It was a trade deal, I suppose. I'm guessing it was building bridges, I don't know. Well, building breweries.
Yeah.
But, There's
the name of the series.
Yeah.
Building breweries.
Breweries.
Beers from different authoritarian regimes.
Yeah, so Mr. Gary Todd, he taught them for quite a while, and he said he had to keep going over the basics because they didn't really know what they were doing.
So there were no breweries in North Korea before? Do we reckon?
That's a little bit light on my research.
Okay, right. Okay, fair enough. Should we try the beer?
Yeah.
Should we give this a go? Because from the look of it, it's slightly hazy.
It is slightly hazy.
There's a little bit of haze to it. But look at the head retention.
Mate, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I've just got to give a shout out to my friend Derek Lee, who is Chinese, and when he visits China, they actually export this beer, North Korea, to China.
Yeah.
And some of their other beers as well from the factory.
So that's where he's got it from.
It's very highly regarded. It is regarded as the best beer from North Korea. This is the premium beer. It's also the strongest of the lagers that you might get. Typically stronger than a lot of beers from that lagers from that part of the world, 4.7%.
Right.
Are you doing a Google Translate?
I'm doing a Google Translate on this label because obviously it's all in Korean.
Korean, yeah.
The ingredients are water, sand.
What?
That's what it says. Barley, white rice, hops. Okay. Further down, there's the ingredients again, and it says water, malt, rice, hops. So it's a rice lager.
Yeah.
Let's give this beer a taste. So it's a 4.6% rice lager.
4.6% rice lager.
And it looks slightly hazy, but
it does
lovely
look slightly
head
hazy,
retention.
but they like really quite good condition on it.
Smells like a rice lager. It
does, doesn't it?
Sweet, creamy.
Yeah. It smells pretty
Slightly
good.
lemony. I mean,
I like the smell of it.
It smells like you'd want a rice lager to smell. I mean, I think they forgot the hops.
There's not a whole lot of hops going on, Johnny. It is in a green bottle, it's going to be light struck.
But there's not a huge amount of skunk on there.
No.
Probably because they forgot the hops. Light strike being something that affects the hops.
I wonder
whether
there are hop growing regions in North Korea. I'm guessing probably.
There are in China. I wouldn't imagine that there are in Korea.
Yeah.
I'd imagine they'd be importing Chinese hops for it. I mean, sorry, there are hops in there because it's not a sour beer, and you have to have hops in there. Probably hop extract has been used. It just means there's absolutely no bitterness. So it's smooth and creamy and kind of it's not corny, but it's like that sweet rice, sushi rice kind of flavour.
Yeah.
So, it's well made. Flavour-wise, it shouldn't be hazy.
Yeah, I'm confused by the haze as well.
But I guess there wouldn't have been a filter in the £1.5 million brewery that they bought because it was a real ale brewery. And maybe they haven't installed one.
I think it's pretty tasty.
Yeah.
I think it's all right.
What did the head brewer at Usher's think of the beer?
Okay, so Gary had a fair bit to say. He didn't make it out to North Korea, but he was able to access the brewery's progress a few years ago when a British journalist gave him a bottle of beer after a trip to North Korea. Mr. Todd said, "I would have to say I was pleasantly surprised because I was not sure what they were using for their brewing materials." He says the flavour was pretty good. It was quite nice.
It does sound a bit like there's a gun to his head.
I think they just get you with umbrellas and things when you're in stations.
Nice. Oh, right, okay.
I actually think it's pretty good. I'd drink that for sure. So, Derek, thank you so much for sending us this. Very kindly sent us another Democratic People's Republic beer from another brewery, I believe also in Pyongyang.
Right.
Which is
so
another
a rival brewery.
A rival
Is that
brewery.
allowed within a communist regime? Right, so I've looked at
The
Google Translate on this one. 4.2%. Says says excellent content. 4.2%.
Yeah.
This one seems to be all malt.
All malt, so no
All
rice.
malt, so no rice in this one.
Interesting. So this is Pyongyang 11.
Oh, hello.
That is lively. So Derek said he had this lying around, so he sent us a bottle of this as well. And Derek says he thinks this tastes rather like a German Bock.
Okay.
So that's quite exciting.
That's right. It looks like a Smurf.
It does. It has got quite a lot going on there. It's a lively one.
Right. So hazy again, a little bit darker.
Yeah, this is more amber, isn't it? A little bit. Great head retention again.
Again, pretty good head retention. Yeah, something good with the malts in North Korea.
Must be.
Okay, so I'm picking up some faults on this beer.
Yeah, is there a bit of diacetyl going on?
I think there's touches of diacetyl. There's isoamyl acetate. So foam banana.
Yeah, a bit banana. Yeah,
It's had a
sure.
slightly rough fermentation. This, I believe.
Yeah,
But it looks nice. Let's give it
it
a go.
does look nice. Cheers. It's not as good as the first one, mate. I tell you what,
That's not the best bit.
that's a bit rough. So I think I couldn't get any North Korean snacks, really,
Right.
but I did
Why
manage
not?
to get. Well, it's almost like it's like a closed state.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got some South Korean snacks, Johnny. These are extra extreme Buldak Zalduk.
Extreme Buldak.
They're 2 times spicy. They've got a chicken on the front.
I feel like you've been talking through most of this episode, Extreme Buldak.
I have been to. I can't even open them. So,
This beer, Bradley,
oh,
is terrible.
come on, Johnny.
It's over attenuated. It's
This
foam
looks like
banana
pasta, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, but it's not going to taste like pasta, is
No,
it?
it's good. Well, chicken, maybe chicken. pasta.
Arrabbiata. 2 times spicy. 2 times spicier than what?
Than the normal Buldak.
Ooh!
They are a little bit spicy.
They are. Ooh!
Hello. I don't even like chicken. I'm going in. I
don't
don't
think
taste like
chicken's
chicken, do
been
they?
anywhere
There's no
near that.
chicken involved, I don't think.
No, it tastes like fire.
I'd like to say that they make it taste a bit more palatable, but I'm not sure they do.
No. So what do you think we've learned about North Korea and North Korean drinking culture?
I think it is good to have a goal, Johnny,
Right, okay.
have a vision, have a dream, and go, you know what? That's batshit crazy, but I'm going to do it. So, like, presumably, they could have built a factory for like a tenth of the cost
Yeah.
in North Korea.
Yeah.
And
Well, they'd
like,
have built it in China, brought it over.
They could have commissioned stainless in China.
Yeah.
The whole brewing setup.
If you look at my inbox, it is mostly spam from
Yeah.
China trying to sell me brewery equipment.
Yeah, but I love the idea that they were sat on eBay or whatever it was that they purchased it on, and they were like, "That is beautiful. Look at that. It's British, British made. Like, look at that. It's in Wiltshire. That's Usher's got gravitas, history to it. We want a bit of that British prestige."
I mean, I will say, when I went to Asian Oktoberfest, which is in Qingdao in
Yeah.
China, British beer was revered. And we were at a special dinner with some of the the management team of Qingdao Brewery.
Yeah,
And they had brewed an IPA, a test batch of English IPA, because they loved Green King IPA, and that was served to us at the dinner. So I think there is a genuine respect in that part of Asia, which is obviously like half of the world, but there is a reference for it, which I think maybe that would have appealed to somebody like Kim Jong-un, that
think
he
it's
would have
great.
bought the best brewery you could buy, which is a British-made real ale brewery. So Bradley, just a little aside, I have looked on Untapped to see what the Great Unwashed think of this beer. 1,000 people have had it.
yes.
Amazingly,
Yeah.
11 of my Untapped friends have had it.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, 11 of them.
No way.
And it has a glorious score of 2.8 out of 5. So it's over halfway.
It is over halfway to being a beer.
Yeah. And I would say that over half is probably the score I would give it.
Yeah, I think, you know what, I could drink that if I was in Pyongyang. Maybe I'm sat next to the river.
Oh, if you're in Pyongyang, for sure. Anywhere else,
I'd be smashing those.
Bob's not.
I'd be absolutely smashing those. I probably wouldn't with these because
Well, that's from South Korea.
that is from South Korea.
Yeah.
So maybe that'd be black market vibes. Wouldn't be able to get.
I wouldn't get myself involved in the black market in North Korea. I'd just be like,
Yeah.
I'll have some of your snacks, please.
Yeah, give me
And
some
thank you.
snacks.
Yeah.
But I think that's a tidy drink to wash it down with.
Yeah.
My
We
mouth's
meant
on
it.
fire.
Yeah, it's absolutely, it's extreme Buldak. There's no other word
Can we
for
drink
it.
some more beer?
Yes, let's. Thank you for bringing me these.
Thank you, Derek, as well.
Thank you to our beloved leader in advance for not killing us.
Don't say this. Don't say this. Do you know what?
And thanks, Derek.
I've got nothing against these beers. I think the first one's like pleasant. It's very
It's fine.
drinkable.
It tastes like every other beer.
Second one's not great. It's a bit rough.
not
It's a rocky road, but the Bulldog double spicy definitely didn't help.
No, it didn't help. It all went wrong after the first one. But actually, you know what? For a North Korean communist rice lager brewed on an
Yeah.
heretic English
Yeah.
real ale brewery,
It's a success.
It's bang average. Cheers.